Hello students, again welcome to our online video tutorial class. Last day, I think you can remember, we have already started the portion that is respiration and the introductory part we have already completed on that day. So today I am actually here with the next topic, that is respiration in plants specifically. So all we know that respiration generally performed by the plant, obviously by specific some organs, as well as there is a specific mechanism by which the plants are performing respiration, and the mechanism is that diffusion. So আমরা এটা সবাই জানি যে diffusion হচ্ছে এমন একটা mechanism যার মধ্যে দিয়ে generally plants-রা gaseous exchange করে থাকে. Okay. Now the point is, what is diffusion? Diffusion এর definition বা what is diffusion যদি জিজ্ঞাসা করা হয় তাহলে সেক্ষেত্রে diffusion বললে আমরা বলবো when the plants are actually absorbing the oxygen from the open environment and releasing the carbon dioxide in opposite in the open environment. That specific exchange, okay, it is always happening in a process where from a higher concentration of any specific substance or any specific gas, that specific gas is coming to the lower concentration. As well as you can consider for exhalation time, from the higher concentration of carbon dioxide, it is getting released to outside. So in case of plant, if you see carefully, when they are performing respiration, they are during the time of absorption they are taking oxygen, during the time of release they are releasing carbon dioxide. Okay, so when they are taking the oxygen from the environment, it is the common sense, obviously atmospheric oxygen concentration or the quantity is more. So automatically by the process of diffusion from the higher concentration to the lower concentration means inside the plant body the oxygen is entering, and in opposite if you think, when the plant is releasing carbon dioxide during the process of respiration, inside the plant body carbon dioxide concentration is more. In the open environment comparatively the carbon dioxide concentration is less, so automatically plant will be releasing that carbon dioxide to the open environment. So that is also the process of diffusion. So diffusion is one and only procedure by which the plant is only performing the respiratory process. Now the next point is that which of the parts of the plants are involved for this respiratory mechanism. Mainly we all know that root, stem and leaf, these three portions are mainly responsible for performing this respiration. Okay, we all know that the green parts including the leaves, those are responsible for photosynthesis, but respiration can be done by these three parts. Okay, now we have to see that how these three parts are performing the respiratory mechanism. First, when we will start with root, obviously the respiration by the root is always performed by the epidermal cells of the root hair. We all know that the roots are actually penetrating the soil and moving inside. Okay, and after that from the roots several unicellular root hairs are distributing in the soil. Now the point is those specific root hairs are unicellular, that means their cell membrane or whatever the cell wall is present, that is not so much thick, that is comparatively thin, and due to presence of those specific thin epidermal cell layer, root is capable for absorbing the oxygen or the air which is present in between the soil particles. Because always keep it in your mind, we are always thinking the air is present in the open atmosphere, just below the ground or under the ground, in between the soil particle air is not present. Actually this information or this concept is wrong. In between soil particles also oxygen is present, air is present. Otherwise think, if the oxygen is absent there, how the microorganisms, specifically aerobic microorganisms as well as plants, how they will survive? Because if the plant is not getting oxygen from under the soil, obviously the roots portions will not perform any kind of respiratory process. So always keep it in your mind that oxygen which is present under the soil, that oxygen will be absorbed by the root, and that is also by the process of diffusion. And which specific organ is actually helping here? Organ or the part, you can rather say the surface of the root hair, that is epidermal cell layer, that is actually responsible for absorbing oxygen from the soil as well as responsible for releasing carbon dioxide into the soil. Okay, and that is always happening by the process of diffusion. If you go for the second one, that is respiration by stem. Respiration by stem is always by the lenticels. What are lenticels? Lenticels are actually some small apertures which are present on the surface of stem or rather you can say on the surface of bark. Maybe those specific apertures we can't see by our naked eye, but those specific apertures are exclusively helping the plant for exchanging the gas with the environment. Here also the same process is utilized by the plant, that is diffusion mechanism only. Clear? Respiration by the leaf. Always we know that the respiration by the leaf is performed by the stomatal aperture or stomata. On which day I have shown you the sectional view of the leaf. You have seen that just below the stomata there is a vacant space. That space is known as stomatal cavity. So that stomatal cavity, what is the function? The function of that stomatal cavity is during time of respiration, when the plant is absorbing oxygen from the atmosphere, that oxygen remains stored within the stomatal cavity for few minutes or for few time. After that, that oxygen will be getting distributed to each and every cell of the leaves as well as small branches. In opposite, if you think, when the plant is expiring the gas, that means carbon dioxide, when that specific plant is expiring, on that time also, before releasing carbon dioxide remains stored in the stomatal cavity for a little bit. After that it will be just sent outside, or it will be just released outside. So the point is, stomatal aperture is responsible for respiration. Now the point is during daytime photosynthesis is happening. For that reason stomatal aperture is always open. So during the daytime respiration rate or the respiratory rate also in case of plant is very good, because stomata is open, it is continuously taking oxygen and it is continuously taking carbon dioxide and oxygen for photosynthesis, as well as for respiration also it is continuously taking oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. So during the daytime there is no problem, but during the night time, think about stomatal apertures remain closed. So on that time, if the leaf cells need oxygen for their respiration, how they will get it? Obviously on that time the oxygen which is needed by the leaf cells, they are not obtaining that much oxygen by the stomatal aperture because that is closed. Okay, so obviously on that time leaf cells have to depend on lenticels, they have to depend on epidermal cells of the root here. So from those surfaces oxygen is always getting exchanged, oxygen and carbon dioxide is always getting exchanged. It's not like that during the daytime like stomatal aperture they can also exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. During night time they can't do like the stomatal aperture because they will be getting closed. So there is no problem of closing, they remain always open, and this is only a layer and this is the aperture, but this aperture is always remain open. So exchange of the gases is always possible by these two structures, but stomatal aperture only it is possible during the daytime. During the night time maybe a little bit of exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide for the respiration is happening, but most of the stomatal aperture remain closed, so automatically the rate of respiration is also getting reduced during the night time. Clear? So this overall, this is the thing, that is the respiration, how the plants are performing. There are three structures: stomatal aperture, lenticel, epidermal cells of the root hair, and during daytime and night time obviously this respiration is happening in continuous manner. Okay, photosynthesis is happening during the daytime only, but respiration is there in daytime also, in the night time also, in each and every part of the plant body. Clear? So this is our total portion for this video. So thank you everyone. Just prepare this small part by studying from the book. If there is any query, please ask me about those queries and wait for the next video. Next video I will be making based on respiration in animals. Okay, thank you. Okay.